So what is the expectation for the biggest star that's going to be the first overall pick? Like what is her ice in your mind? What's the immediate impact that Paige Bueckers makes to the WNBA?
Oh, yeah. I mean, double figure score. Double figure score. She's going to a Dallas team that already has one of the best scores in the world in Arike Gumbawale. Some would put, Asia Nafisa Asia Arike, like is one of the best scorers. So I think the benefit in having Paige on the floor is that she doesn't need the ball in her hand to score. Paige can be run off screens, run off stagger screens, curl action, catch and shoot, knockdown. She's a very efficient player. Think like Klay Thompson scoring 30 points off 11 dribbles or something crazy that we saw years ago. Like those could be the type of games that Paige has. So I think at the next level for a Dallas organization that has gotten rid of some of their star power recently, that is banking on Paige coming in and being one of their stars, I'm expecting her to score double figures. I'm also expecting her to have about 5 assists a game. Like I think her numbers are going to be around 12 and 5, 14 and 5. I think there's going to be some growing pains with her working with another major scorer in Arike Gumbawale, who is ball dominant, who needs to have the ball in her hands to get her shot off. But make no mistake about it, offensively, Paige is going to be called on to be a major contributor for the Dallas Wings this upcoming season. And it'll be fun to watch because I think she's ready for the challenge. And already hearing the whispers from Arike Gumbawale, she is ready to have Paige Bueckers on her squad. I'm not sure. We talk about guard duos in the W, and it'll be this might be the little bit of a tease, but could they end up being the best backcourt duo towards the end? Could they end up being the best scoring duo?
Paige Bueckers will be the number one overall pick. She came into this season as the projected number one overall pick. She has done nothing except solidify that. If you look at the tournament as a whole, who on the women's side has boosted their draft stock the most?
Yeah. First, I'll say Anissa Morrow of LSU. She has been a double-double machine for her career. Over 100 double-doubles she has had throughout the course of her career. Started back playing for DePaul. I used to watch it and cover a ton of the Big East, so I saw her up close, and then obviously finished with Kim Mulkey and LSU. What makes her terrific is that she's an undersized 4 player that still will out-rebound you because of her toughness, because of her strength, because of her grit, because of her athleticism. And at the next level, you need great rebounders. And so I think that there is a team that is going to find a spot for Anissa Morrow based on her physicality, what she can bring to the next level. And then I believe that she'll grow on her scoring as well. Not necessarily a 3-point shooter, but with the size that she's at, she's going to have to learn to be more comfortable on the perimeter. I think, a player that I was always rooting for, and it was questionable whether she would have a life in the WNBA, was Hailey Van Lith.
Mm-hmm.
If you had asked me this time last year, I would have said, I don't think there's a roster who will keep a Hailey Van Lith. She was between being a 2 guard, not really a point guard, not really a great defender for LSU. Last year when she was with them on their run to, I believe, an Elite 8. And this year with what she was able to do with TCU and Sedona Prince, the majority of the scoring, the majority of the facilitating, handling pressure, weathering the storms, and the resilience that she has, Hailey Van Lith is like a trained assassin. Somebody gets her in the right system, doing the right things and making sure that she's valued. Hailey Van Lith, I think, could have a very good career in the WNBA. And I believe that her hunger for the game and the way that she's been battle tested makes her more attractive to WNBA coaches and GMs at the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Think like Isaiah Cook, who got drafted and stayed with the Ellis Sparks for a couple of years and hasn't necessarily been able to stay on a roster this year. Hailey Van Lith is like her, where it can be a 2 guard that's a backup 2 guard that can come in the game, that can be versatile and make a difference. To me, those were the 2 players that throughout the course of the tournament, I was like, oh yeah, okay. You wanted to make sure that GMs were like, yes, we need to make sure that we go and get them. We need to make sure that they have a training camp invitation. We need to make sure that they're in a first-round draft. I think Anissa Morrow and Hailey Van Lith are going to have really good careers in the W. And the best thing about the W right now is expansion,
Yes.
is that there are more and more teams, which means that we can keep more of these players. So I'm also hoping, no disrespect to my old heads in the league, but those that continue to retire and move on, the Elena Deladons who we're going to miss, the Diana Taurasi's who we're going to miss. And these are players that changed the game of basketball. We're starting to see them retire in bulk. And now hopefully we can keep some of these younger college players who have captivated the college game, who have captivated women's basketball as it's been growing and can market and can be marketed and capitalized in the WNBA. So I also think we're going to see a wave of our younger players staying in the league, which is what we as fans want because we're most connected to those who play college basketball.
It's a trickle up effect for sure. That there's a reason why Indiana Fever tickets are the most expensive in the WNBA, and that is because of Caitlin Clark and the popularity that she had at Iowa and has only grown in the WNBA. Haley Van Lith and Anissa Morrow were the two that were at the top of my mind. Marcus Stroman is a pitcher in MLB, and his kind of tagline is HDMH, height don't measure heart. And that is exactly how I view Anissa Morrow and Haley Van Lith. Like, they're both viewed probably as maybe a little bit undersized in the W. But you look at Anissa Morrow, the way that she grinds, double-double machine. She had 30 this past season. I believe the only game in the tournament when she did not have a double-double was in a loss in the Elite Eight against UCLA. And then Haley Van Lith. I don't know how you watch her game and not just see on full display a grind, just a passion and a desire to win, to carry her team. She's a spark plug for TCU this past year. So height don't measure heart. Those are two that I'm pumped to see in the W.